Hello and welcome to Work Hard, Dream Harder. We're just two best friends trying to figure out life and trying to live a life to the fullest. So let's work hard and dream harder together.
We're going to talk about how relationships...
Dating culture in your 20s.
Yeah, when you get out of that lovey-dovey
When you're not-
naivete of...
Yeah, you're not a teenager anymore, but you're not like... I feel like 20-year-olds aren't that mature.
So
Not until you get to your 30s.
So somebody said to me, the 20s are you're a kid adult, and 30 is alright, but 40 you're an adult.
See, it's crazy to me that people think people who are 40 are old. If you think about it, they're not.
True.
I'd say old is when you're 60. That's when you start being old.
100 when you get the letter from them.
Because I know so many people in 50s that are quite fit and healthy, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, side task.
Right, I'm the worst person to ask this question because I come from a different perspective of being a Muslim, and obviously that dating culture is not non-existent. There are rules to it. We do know dating. It's more you get to know them without the feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but you ask them the questions about basic questions to lead for a husband material type of thing. Would he be the right partner for you? It's less of, I was going to say, messing around to get to know him. You've got to get to know him before you have that connection of physical touch.
Yeah, because that's definitely been it's not been a major problem for me, but I've definitely dated people with different mindsets to me, which didn't cause a problem at the time because I'm still young, but if we would have stayed together, would have been a problem in the future.
I come in from an observer. What I see is people who are in their teens, it's just they don't know what they want. They don't have the concept of settling down with someone. It's just that initial reaction of, oh, I like you, you like me, now let's date.
Yeah, I definitely got into relationships where I don't really know why. I think I just did it because I could. But when you think back to it, you're like, why? Why did I do that? And
then I think, like we talked last episode, is media just does not... it's you don't realise what a red flag is till you're in that scenario. A lot of people who I've talked to, when they're in a relationship which is toxic and abusive, they say that I didn't realise till I got out of it because I didn't know what it meant to have not a perfect husband, or I didn't know what a relationship per se, they didn't know what to look for. They didn't know what it's manipulated or what to respect. Because at young you're oh, I love you, or I'm gonna let the feelings take it. Sorry for this video.
Oh, that was a warm hand. Sorry, my hands are cold. but no, I think you're right. You're okay.
Thank God nobody's watching this. Okay, get back to what we were saying.
No, I think you're right though, because you can see it from both perspectives. People don't know what red flags to look for, but on the other hand, some people are also expecting perfection. So you've got some relationships where they break apart because one party is expecting everything to be perfect. And because this person has flaws, they see that as a red flag. But then you have the other side of it where people are seeing red flags, but through rose-tinted glasses, and they don't realise they're red. You have both ends of the spectrum here. If you can't see, she just keeps making okay signs.
And I think, you know what it is? And sometimes you emulate the parents' relationship that they have, and sometimes it can be toxic. parents of divorce and like a lot of domestic abuse of victims, kind of like their children get placed in a porn
as like a chess piece.
no, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
a porn chess piece, but it's okay.
And then it's like the first time you are meant to see an ideal of what a relationship is you emulate what your parents are.
Yeah.
And if you've never felt safe or they've never shown you not lovey-dovey, but like...
I think if like your parents are in an abusive relationship, a number of things could happen. But one of them could be you've seen one parent be toxic, controlling, physically abusive, anything like that, and you think that is the normal way to cope with stress. Mm-hmm. So you then may emulate that behaviour. Even though you kind of know it's wrong, it is what you've been brought with. You
don't know any better.
Yeah. I mean, you do, but you don't. Mm. But then the other thing could happen where you have seen one of your parents be physically abused or mentally abused. So you will accept that. You will accept abuse. You will take that. I mean, obviously, you can also go the other way where you've seen what a bad relationship and you learn from that and you go for better. But many different things could happen based on what you know and see.
I think with our generation, you've got
a lot of divorced parents.
And I think the idea of marriage now is just like, some people just don't see the point. Mm. And I feel like we're getting to a point where people are getting married later in life. And I think dating culture is quite a big one, just in the like what
everyone's there for short-term hookups.
What I've observed, because I think, and it, you know that whole saying like, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but I feel like
they've taken that to an extreme. And
I think like what you go and say, like, people don't know what to compromise in a relationship. Like, okay, beauty, like the way you look, that's something I'm like, okay, I would compromise, but personality, no. Because... Oh,
you mean like what you'd compromise for in a romantic partner, right?
Or just generally like, for example, like, if you're looking at building a long-time partner, like, do you value in having kids? Because big questions like those, you can't really have no idea.
Yeah.
Because, and that's why I feel like the younger you are, you don't know who you are. There's no point in getting in a relationship where you don't know your values and stuff like that.
This is the thing that me and my partner are struggling with at the moment, because I don't want kids. It's a personal preference. I respect people who have kids. They're a lot of time, a lot of effort. I personally want that time. I want to spend less effort. I want more money. I want to be able to just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm going here, and not be like, oh, but the kids, damn it. Like, I mean, I could change my mind. I doubt it. I've had this opinion for a very long time. My partner, on the other hand, is on the fence. He isn't sure. And if one day he did turn around and go, well, actually, no, I do want kids, then this relationship won't work.
But what I think you've done well is that you've stated that, and he knows what he's getting himself into, because the thing is, like, I come from, like, I've seen a lot of like TV shows, like, where they've never even had that conversation.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Amy and Jake, like, I was just like, they never had that conversation, and I was just like, these things affect you big time.
Yeah, like, don't get married to someone. Like, obviously, me and my partner aren't married, but don't get married to someone or settle down with someone if you do want different things in life. Like, even so much as, like, say if one of you wants to live in the city and the other one wants to live in the countryside, or if one of you wants to live in Japan and the other one wants to live in Sweden.
But the thing is, sometimes with those decisions, okay, like, you can come to a good conclusion, but it's always down to, like...
With a big decision, you need to make it clear.
Mm-hmm. And then that goes to about, what are you willing to compromise? Location. Or, like, are you willing to have that discussion? It's like, yeah, can we like look in this place instead? And if that conversation happens and it turns out to be, yeah, whatever, then yeah, but you can never mess around with like the big decisions about like kids, you know. Even like some people even say like, are you scared if I make more money than you? You know,
Yeah.
like how would they react? Because there are big signs of personalities. But then again, that is if you're considering the big thing.
Yeah, well, to be fair, me and my partner have actually talked about that because at the moment we both make around the same amount. There is a slight discrepancy, but it's pretty much the same. So we go 50-50 on everything. But we have spoken about what we would do if one person earned more or earned less, or like if someone lost a job or if someone got a promotion. Like we have actually got, not contingency plans, but that sort of thing we've already discussed, and we already have a base idea of where we stand. And I think that's kind of a really good plan for anyone, not just finances, but like where you're living, because we're also thinking of like buying a house and all that. And we've both spoken about where we'd be willing to live to. And luckily for us, it overlaps quite a lot for both of us. So we have lots of choices, but some people might not be that lucky. So you kind of need to, I think, for a relationship to work, you kind of need to be on the same wavelength or be willing to compromise. But it's not fair if one person is compromising everything and the other person nothing.
And I think it's like all right to have different opinions.
Yeah.
Where there's like minutiae things of like favorite film, food preferences, because there's ways around that. But if it will physically impact your relationship, like if you're moving out, then it's just like, yeah. But like even getting to a point where you're considering taking your partner seriously, it's a whole nother ball game. Dating culture, to me, I feel like, regardless of my religious background, yeah, these apps, like Tinder, Muzmatch or whatever, like those things, I'm like, I'm dyslexic. I need to have a verbal conversation with you, right? But then again, I'm never in the room where those types of people are there, right? Because it's just like...
You need like a voice note one.
It's just like, how am I going to meet people if I think I say to you, but I want a partner, but then I'm like, am I doing things to find those things? Like, am I putting myself out there? No. So how am I expecting to get in a relationship where I'm not even, not looking, but like putting myself in situations where it can happen naturally, right? Like, in the like Asian culture, right? Unis are those times where you find someone because you're usually with a bunch of people who are, because I think for me it's like religion and that's important. But then again, I did a degree where there's not that many Asians.
It wasn't a very diverse class, was it?
I'm just like, but then again, I don't have opportunities to find those because it's really hard, and I'm thinking like, you're not going to get my vibe over a message. You can vouch for that.
Yeah.
But it's like...
you need to speak to in person kind of girl.
But then again, I'm not putting in situations like that, and it's like, like the typical thing, like, going back to the holiday that we were just, the movie, the film, and it's like, oh, Jack Black's character, they do a meet cute at a DVD shop, a Blockbuster type thing, and I'm just like, yeah.
That does not happen in real life.
Yeah, because people just think, oh, you're a weirdo, like, huh? Like, and then there's...
They don't just happen, like, meet cutes don't really happen. Very rare that they do, but everyone I know have... Most people in relationships have met through work, which is crazy to me because I would not dream of dating someone.
But then again, it goes back to, like... There was this whole thing about third places. Like, you've got home school and you need a third place that is outside that.
Yeah.
Whether it's a coffee shop or a library or, like, somewhere
That's where you're going to meet your partner, sir.
Or, like, in somewhere where you go quite regularly, whether it's a gym or something, that the third space out of school and work is a place where you meet. And I'm just like, yeah... but the things I'm into, my ideal type of person is never there. I'm just like, and I just feel like it's time and effort.
Yeah. I mean, mine and Noah's first date was a pub, so so romantic.
But I feel like what helps is a friends of association.
Yeah,
Like
we have friends that kind of introduced each other to their friends. It's who you know, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I ain't in no rush, but it's just that pressure. And I think that fucking stupid society pressure, like, 30, you should have someone settled.
It's always one of the first questions you're asked, though.
Yeah.
Well, how are you? Do you have a partner? It's like, well, no, but let's move on. Like, my worth isn't dictated by whether I've got a partner and how they're doing.
I feel like people now are more career orientated, and it's just like a few people that I know, they want to get in a position where they're financially stable and that they can support, if they were looking for a partner, to support them, because the idea of not having something stable and not knowing your self-worth, is it really adding that baggage into a relationship?
I know someone who was actually kind of hitting it off with this other person, and they would have been like really like cute together, would have hit it off really well, but he kind of decided to not go forward with it because he couldn't support himself. And he was like, I don't think it's fair. I mean, you can look at it both ways, but he was saying that he doesn't think it's fair to get himself in a relationship with someone where he's not in a great situation himself, and that will then add pressure to her. And I respect that, but I feel like that would have been a decision for her to make, maybe. I don't know, this one's actually hard. I can see where he came from, but they were hitting it off and she was really upset when he broke it off.
But did they the thing is, I would have that conversation.
Yeah, see, I don't know whether they did or not. I've only got, obviously, his side of the story.
Yeah.
Oh, our lights just turned off, so we're in darkness for the rest of this episode. Hey.
Technical difficulties, yay.
Anyway, let's continue.
I think I would have that conversation and be like, look, right, I like you, yeah. This is the scenario in my head. I like you, but I feel like it's irresponsible of me to take this to the next level. Like, I want to put my best foot forward, especially if you want to get into like a proper like marriage relationship type of situation, right? Because what I've seen just observing other people, money is a cause of a lot of people's issues.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you would have that conversation and be like, look, right, I'm struggling. I'm at this, you can either wait for me to be in a better position, but I'd like you to put yourself back out there because I can't give you what you want. And maybe they can have that conversation like, I just want you and we can figure that out.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a conversation you have and a decision you make as a couple. I think I personally would be a bit like upset if someone
just broke it off. Like, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a reason for it, and I think it was a really nice reason. I personally would be a bit like, if I really liked and respected this person, I'd be like, well, we don't have to go on dates all the time. We can do things for free. We can, just kind of like meet up and not do anything. We could just meet up and go out, watch Netflix or something. But you can do things for free. And I think if I really liked someone, I would, I'd push past the fact that they're poor. Like, for me, money isn't really a factor. Like, I mean, I guess it is to a certain extent. You don't want to be dating someone who's living on the streets.
I think you want the same means as you, as long as they're trying to make themselves better and showing you that they're committed. But then again, it's like you said, like, do you really care enough to be like, actions speak?
Yeah. Is mainly with the lighting, so for those of you listening, you will have no clue what we're on about. So we've just currently had to put on a different device, but we basically just need to wrap up what has been said so far.
We're just like, a quick fire is like, we feel like people are getting married less or later.
People are caring more about long-term relationships, and they're going more for the short-term flings. I feel.
And I feel like
that's not necessarily an issue though. If you don't want to settle down, You don't
But
have
then
to.
again, it's protecting your heart.
Yeah.
Because we can only talk about this in another episode, but like your heart needs protected because the more time gets bruised, and you feel like hopeless that is. That's why like my religion kind of says no to dating. Because then it's like when you find the one, heart's not already broken just because you messed around with people that it's not.
But part of me also likes the fact that I feel like you can't appreciate a good relationship. No, you can. But I feel like it's easier to appreciate a good relationship if you've got experience of a bad one. Like for me, I appreciated
The bad to then appreciate what you got now.
Yeah, I appreciate what I've got now because I've seen it much worse. And it goes back to that whole people looking for things that are too perfect. That's what I was looking for, and because I have had a few bad experiences with dating, and now I appreciate that things can't be perfect, and there are going to be some hiccups. You're not necessarily going to agree with your partner all the time, but it's how you and your partner handle things depends on whether the relationship will last.
And I feel like at the end of the day, like you always harp on, like communication, trust, because and that's why when you cheat, there's no going back. Like, how can you end up not? It's like, to me, if you cheated, and I'm just like, the trust is there, it'll always be back on your mind, like, or and I feel like at the end of the day, right, there's no rule to it. No matter what you consume media wise, or just even, you gotta be cautious what advice you take from others. Like, whenever I say to Tia, like, look, like, this is my advice, you don't need to take it, I've never been in that position before, this is what I think, take it with a grain of salt. But you've got to sometimes, like, you don't listen to the best advice from people because you think you know best, so it's always like a game. And I feel like at the end of the day, love's complicated.
Yeah, love's complicated, and no one can give you a hard and fast rule about what to do and don't do.
You figure that yourself.
You kind of just got to trust yourself and read the situations, and do get advice from other people if you trust them, but not everyone will give you good advice.
What I mean. You've got to be careful who you take the advice from.
Yeah. I think that wraps up that episode. So thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Work hard, dream harder.
Yeah.
Why does it
Stop!
stop?